It began not with a secret meeting or a hidden symbol, but with an idea about knowledge, enlightenment, and control. The word Illuminati has become one of the most charged terms in modern culture, a symbol of mystery, secrecy, and unseen power. Yet, few truly know its origins, or how a small 18th century movement from Bavaria grew into one of the most persistent legends about influence in America. To understand the Illuminati's supposed reach, we must start with its truth. Welcome to Hidden US. This is episode 15. The Illuminati Influence in America. The Hidden Architecture of Power. Founded in 1776 by Adam White, the original Illuminati was not born in the Shadows-et, was a philosophical society built on ideals of reason, free thought, and moral reform during an age when institutions, religion, and monarchy ruled with absolute control. Weishaupt's goal was not chaos, it was enlightenment. But enlightenment challenged authority, and authority does not like challengers. Within a decade, the order was outlawed, its members scattered. Yet, as it vanished, the idea of a secret group guiding events from behind the curtain began to grow, an idea that would find fertile ground in a nation being born across the ocean, the United States of America. America was founded during the same age of revolution and reason that gave birth to the Illuminati. Its foundersmen, like Jefferson, Franklin, and Washington, were influenced by Enlightenment principles that prized knowledge, liberty, and secular governance. Over time, those ideals merged with the myth that America itself was the Illuminati's greatest experiment, a nation designed to spread enlightenment through power. The architecture of Washington, D.C., filled with geometric layouts, symbols, and Masonic imagery, only fueled the speculation. The Great Seal of the United States with its pyramid and Alciengi, it became the centerpiece of endless interpretations. Were these symbols chosen for beauty or for a message? The truth is more layered than legend suggests. The founding generation drew from a shared visual language of the Enlightenment, one that merged science, philosophy, and spirituality into a single quest for human progress. But as time passed, the lines blurred. The symbol of enlightenment became the symbol of control. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, fears of secret societies began to blend with political anxiety. Freemasons, financiers, and industrial magnates became the new focus of suspicion. Power was consolidating banks, media, and governments intertwined veins. People sought explanations. The Illuminati became shorthand for invisible authority, a name used to describe what could not be seen but could always be felt. In truth, the American system had become complex enough to appear coordinated, even when it wasn't. Yet the myth persisted because it offered simplicity in a chaotic world, the belief that somewhere, someone must be in control. Every era has its story of hidden hands. The 20th century was no different. As mass media rose, symbolism became a visual language of eyes, triangles, and light became shorthand for secret power. Musicians, politicians, and corporations were accused of signaling allegiance to an unseen order. But in most cases, the symbols were artistic, not conspiratorial. The real power of the Illuminati was no longer in secret meetings. It was in cultural imagination. To understand the Illuminati influence in America is to understand how myth can shape perception. Power today does not hide behind cloaks and candles. It hides in plain sight, within systems, corporations, and algorithms. The idea of the Illuminati became a mirror reflecting our anxieties about control in the modern world. Every time a major event occurs, a market crash, a war, a technological leap, to myth returns, whispering that someone, somewhere, must have planned it. And yet, as history shows, influence often arises not from conspiracy, but from convergence. Individuals and institutions pursuing their own interests create patterns that look coordinated. Those patterns, amplified through information, resemble design. The myth endures because it satisfies a deeper truth, that unseen systems shape our lives more than we realize. Culturally, the Illuminati has evolved into a language of symbolism. In music, film, and fashion, the eye, the triangle, and the light have become motifs of mystery and rebellion. Artists use them to provoke, not confess. The irony is that by referencing secrecy, pop culture has made secrecy itself a brand. What was once feared is now performed. But the fascination reveals something deeper: our collective awareness that influence does exist, though it wears different faces. Lobbyists, think tanks, corporations, intelligence networks, these are the modern structures of unseen power. Their existence is not hidden, but their mechanisms are opaque. So when people invoke the Illuminati, they are not always referring to an ancient order. They are naming the feeling of being controlled by forces too complex to understand. Historically, secret societies served as networks of knowledge exchange, bringing together thinkers who sought to challenge orthodoxy. In America, those same ideals built universities, funded research, and shaped political philosophy. The difference between influence and conspiracy is intent. Influence seeks to persuade. Conspiracy seeks to dominate. The Illuminati legend blurs the two, making every act of cooperation appear sinister. Yet America's founding, like its evolution, has always been shaped by groups, some public, some private, that steer policy, culture, and belief. That is not hidden, it is human. The persistence of the Illuminati story reveals how modern society has replaced religion with information, and priests with influencers. Where people once sought divine guidance, they now search for hidden motives. In an age of transparency, secrecy becomes more powerful than ever, because it is scarce. The digital world has amplified this paradox. Every symbol, gesture, or phrase can be decoded, reframed, and shared millions of times within hours. The more light we cast on information, the more shadows we create. And in those shadows, myths thrive. When people speak of the Illuminati today, they're really speaking of the architecture of power, the interlocking systems of government, economy, and culture that shape how we think, work, and live. Whether through art, entertainment, or policy, influence flows through channels invisible to most. The myth endures because it gives shape to the shapeless, a name to the unseen. It transforms complex systems into a single narrative of control. But that narrative tells us more about ourselves than about history. It reflects our unease with the scale of modern influence, the sense that individual voices are drowned out by forces too vast to comprehend. In truth, the Illuminati's influence in America is not literal, it is psychological, cultural, and symbolic. It represents the enduring belief that knowledge and control are inseparable, and that somewhere behind every major decision lies a guiding hand. The founders' fascination with Enlightenment ideals gave the myth its foundation. Modern media gave it reach, and today's networked world keeps it alive, repackaged for every generation that feels the weight of invisible influence. The real mystery is not whether the Illuminati exists, but why we need it to. The story endures because it provides order in chaos, purpose in uncertainty. It reminds us that, even in a world of transparency, the greatest power remains unseen. The ability to shape perception. Whether that power belongs to governments, corporations, or collective imagination is a question each generation must answer. The symbols we see, the pyramid, the light our mirrors reflecting our own desire to believe that someone, somewhere, understands the plan. So, the next time you see a triangle, an eye, or a dollar bill glowing under fluorescent light, remember, symbols only have the power we give them. And perhaps that is the ultimate influence of all the belief that control lies not in institutions or orders, but in the stories we choose to tell ourselves about them. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the hidden architecture of American power. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you and miss our next exploration into the stories that shape our world. See you next time on Hidden US.